Good morning, Tamily. Today we are conducting interview number 175, and our interviewee today will be Paola. Her Instagram names are Paola Loves Tam and Paola, I'm sorry, Atlason Wellness. So follow her if you aren't already, and I will connect with her in just a second. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being interview 175.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I have to say I'm a little starstruck talking to you,
Oh,
Tampa as a fan.
you are a way bigger Instagram star than I am.
No, you're a key driver and holder of this Tamily. So
Oh,
thank you so much for everything you guys do and you being at the forefront of these beautiful interviews.
oh, thank you. Thanks for being here. We're very excited to talk to you. And of course, we have some questions planned, but we'll take questions from the chat too. I see lots of people are starting to join, so type a question in anytime and we will get to it.
Yay.
But let's go ahead and start with our favorite question, which is when and how did you start doing the Tracy Anderson method?
So I started, actually, before I start, I apologize. My family's all here.
Okay.
So you're going to hear them. But
No problem.
I started in 2007 or 8, and it was that typical story we've heard before where we saw Gwyneth's photo with a miniskirt dress, and we all wondered what was she doing. I Googled, and Tracy appeared. And from that moment on, I was just trying to get my hands on her teachings, right? So there were DVDs. I didn't have a DVD player, so I had the DVD, but I couldn't play it. And surely enough, one day my husband and I were at it's now an Equinox gym, but it used to be a Reebok sports club on 67th, I think, 65th in Columbus. And we're in the elevator, and I had talked to him about this Tracy Anderson person, so much. We're in the elevator, and he says, "There's your woman." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I turn around, there was this little 8.5 by 11 piece of paper saying, a 2-week boot camp with Tracy Anderson. And I was like, it's meant to be. And I saved all my pennies and I signed up. I was like, I don't know what this is. And I met Tracy from before she had a gym. So it was incredible. And that boot camp was incredible. I still have good friends from there. We went on to, become members of the gym and do all that stuff. But it was definitely an experience.
Oh my gosh, that has to be the most amazing story I've ever heard about how did you start the method. That's awesome.
It was, and she was so intense. Like she came in the first day and she walked, we were at least 50 women at least. In the gym. They had us in the basketball court because we were so many. And she walks in and she said, everybody against the wall. And we go all against the wall. She was probably not that harsh, but that was how it was in my mind. I was like, this little human is like, okay, so we all go against the wall. And she had us do standing hydrants. So we had to do 100 on each leg. And at that time, I had never done a move like that. We were crying, like, oh my gosh.
That is wild.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That is the best. That's the best. That's the best one. We're at interview 175, and that's the best intro to Tracy's story. So obviously that was like 14 years ago or something, 15 years ago. So since then, what kind of results have you seen from doing this method, both physical and non-physical?
I mean, what have I not? I think for me, it's the only workout that truly works. And I move a lot of different ways and I have my whole life, but Tracy is the only one that I think she truly deeply understands the female anatomy and the male anatomy. So the human anatomy. So the way I personally think she's a genius. And I feel like she's like this mad genius. I can only imagine how her brain works, but she's the only one that's been able to make my body, this is the word,
right?
You know, so regardless of, I've had 2 children and my bellies were huge. They were each 9.5 pounds, and my bellies came back, you know, or I'm 45 years old and I feel more resilient and strong than ever in my life, you know. So on a physical level, she keeps it tight. And on a mental level, it's just, it's so creative that it keeps you engaged and you realize how strong you can actually become. So it's an all around, it's a meditative practice to me as well. I remember once she said, don't work out to disconnect, work out to connect. And that resonated with me. And every time I'm on the mat, whether it's at home or at the studio, I make a point of, how am I breathing? What part of my body am I moving? Rather than checking out, it's like, no, I'm checking in, and it's just incredible.
That's such a good way to put it. And that's such a, like, that's the big thing that sets it apart, because a lot of the time it's, you know, get on the treadmill and watch TV, and then you're not connecting at all. Like, in a way, it's connect with you and disconnect with everything else in the world. Like, it is way more about connection. That is absolutely perfect way to put it. What about the Tamily inspires you?
I mean, it's such a sisterhood, and you know, even if there's guys in there, I call it a sisterhood. Right. It's a family. It's truly inspiring. I feel like the commitment that people that are truly connected to the method have to it, it's like no other. I just don't know any other workout except for some extreme crazy things that don't even exist anymore, you know, that are not even popular anymore, where people get so into it. But the difference is that with this one, it does keep getting better and you keep growing. And what the Tamily has done for me, I mean, I feel like I was adopted by you guys last year. You know, I had met Mariam, Tamalasia, who is like my mama. And I had met her in person, I think in 2019. And I was like, oh my God, it's the lady from Instagram. And she was so nice and taller than I thought. I always say that. I'm like, she's so much taller than I thought. But last year, going through quarantine, just seeing you guys connect, and I made my Paola Loves Tam account. I'm like, I wanna hang out with these ladies. And it was an immediate like, yep, you're with us. What do you need? And the unity, and you know, even in my work, seeing how technology has actually supported mental health in these situations, and connection and friendship at a different level. I think we've learned what friendship is.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry, my daughter's telling me I'm loud. I'm in an interview. Okay, I'm sorry. But it was this the true embrace of each other and care for each other, especially through difficult times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is something that, you know, people that think they had a fitness community before, if they could even come together online, which we already were online together, it's just completely different. I really wonder, like, what most of us would have done without the Tamily through the past year and a half.
Yeah.
You personally get and stay motivated to keep a workout as a regular routine for you?
I'm sorry, my daughter was in the kitchen. What did you ask me?
How do you get and stay motivated to keep a workout in a regular routine for you?
So to me, the method is like an anchor. That's why I call the rituals I do daily that keep me grounded and keep me in that headspace. And movement in general is an anchor for me, but especially the method, because you see results. You do, you know, you do it, the consistency, the repetition of showing up often during the week, you just see results. But again, going back to the mental health aspect of it, if you don't move, you know, emotions are energy in motion, right? And especially when we're going through so much on a daily basis as working moms, and with the state of the world and everything that's going on around you, if you don't move, all that energy gets stuck in you. And I feel like the method, even in how Tracy is designed it, where you're moving energy but bringing it back and flowing it through your body, is just medicine for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's, there's very little that movement can't help or completely cure. That's such a good point. Do you have any workout partners?
So I go to the studio. So I have my Zoom guys, my ladies, and I have my studio ladies. And I feel like at the studio, it's been the same since 2008 or 9 when we started.
Oh.
The method, it's Claudia, it's Amy, there's, some of the trainers are there. So I feel like going to the studio, Julia, it's like going to school. Like, when you were in school or college and you're like, hey girls, how you doing? What's going on today? And then each person goes into their own lane. I may do my custom, which I love. And some of the girls are like advanced to forever. And then you go to your class and you come back, it's like, oh my God, that was so crazy. What is Tracy doing with us? But I love it. And they were like taking a shower, so it's a different type of connection. And then when I Zoom, I often do it with Miriam, Adita, Denise, Jen Kane. I think that's like the steady group. And then with Gila, I worked out with Gila. Yeah, Lauren. We were like, at one point I was waking up at 5 to work out with them, and it was great until it wasn't. I was like,
yeah. That definitely runs out of its luster. So we have a question in the chat from Deb. She wants to know how different the custom is compared to the main classes.
So I've been a custom lover from the beginning, simply because I didn't grow up with good posture since I was very young. I don't know why I started hunching my back. I think we thought it was cool when you were like 13 to just stand kind of like hunched over, and it stuck with me. So if I'm not moving with some eyes on me for too long, I will hurt myself. It's not the routine, it's that my back is shaped in a certain way that I need people telling me, no, lift your leg up more. No, like I go here a lot. So I always need somebody pointing that out. So the custom for me, I love because you have eyes on you. You have somebody giving you guidance, and it's designed for specific parts of interest in your body. I do have to say that the classes are just more intense. It's a more complete workout, where custom still feels more like old school Tracy, where you would have to do the structure and then do the cardio. The classes feel like you do that and you're good. You're good to go.
Okay, that's interesting. We have another question in the chat from Jen. She would like to know if you can share if you've had to supplement with any additional weight training to build muscle after injuries.
So I do have to do that. I had to do physical therapy because my issue tends to be with the lower back. And when my lower back grabs, then my glutes, my hamstrings, and my abs, just to compensate, let go. So I have to do specific weight training to build that muscle and to strengthen that muscle to support my back. And I do think a little bit of weight training, especially when you're in your 40s, is beneficial because we want to maintain muscle. So if you do feel like there's something off, the method is my daily. That's my workout. But when my body asks for something else, I will do, I go to my physical therapist and they'll advise something, or I'll add more stretching, but it's very much based on my posture and my issues that I've carried my whole life.
Okay. Ella Martin would like to know, even though you go to the studio, do you still, I think she's asking, do you still watch the streaming breakdown?
I don't, because I love the surprise element. I do have to say the breakdowns are fantastic because if you don't have a trainer nearby,
Mm-hmm.
So at the studio, we have the benefit of even the girls, when they're teaching the class, they can look back and kind of correct and tell you, like, what,
Yeah.
the facial thing. But the breakdowns, I think, are amazing. Courtney, I just like watching her for the love of watching Courtney. But yeah, I love the surprise element of it.
Mm-hmm. We also have another question in the chat. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to our other list. From Kristen, she would like to know, do you have a favorite studio, and what's the best tip that you've ever received from a trainer? I'm sorry, that was from Alexandra. I think I said Kristen.
Well, and also hello to all these beautiful ladies that I am in love with. My favorite studio, I'm House of Tribeca, always and forever. 59th is very nice. 59th is like the Rolls Royce.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown, we're a little more casual, but that's where my sisters are. And in terms of the best advice a trainer has given me, I mean, they've given me so much, but in recent days, it has been for me to point my foot. I was kind of half pointing it and I wasn't getting the full stretch of the extension.
Okay.
And that was a game changer, that. And then as you do it, kind of push your hip forward. So almost like really lengthen. And then the ab thing, like the lower ab, that triangle below your belly button, to tighten there. So it's not, for me, it wasn't about tightening the whole ab, but it's almost that bottom part, and because of my back. So that has allowed me to really get out of that space and move that energy.
Yeah, that is definitely good, like specific instructions you couldn't get from, a breakdown. I mean, the breakdowns are obviously really good and very specific, but especially for you, that is great advice. Okay, let's go back to our list for a second. So we did want to ask if you've ever met Tracy, which you obviously have since the very first time that you did the method. Can you tell, for our Tamily who haven't met her before, what the experience is like meeting Tracy?
I think Tracy is the sweetest, kindest, but strongest, one of the sweetest, kind of strong women that I know, because when you're around her and you're having a conversation with her, she's immersed in what you're talking about. I truly believe her method and all the work she puts into it is because she cares, and she cares about seeing people grow. I mean, she could have packaged this a long time ago and done something very commercial, and she hasn't. She's there. But she's a tough cookie, that one. Like, I get nervous. Even though, like, out of the class, I'm like, hey, Tracy, how you doing? I love you. I haven't seen you, bro. When we're in class, I'm like, okay, we're going to work out with Tracy today.
Yeah, she is very, very serious about the workout. What is something specific that you've learned from Tracy that you would want to share with the Tamily?
Something specific I've learned I mean, there are so many things. I do remember once when you were asking me what kept me motivated to show up. I remember in the very beginning, in one of those boot camps we did, I mean, we were dying. That was just insane. That was like, because it was a new experience and my body just hadn't moved like that ever. So I was waking up all those accessory muscles. You know that feeling. But we were doing, at that point, she was doing really high reps. It was like 40 to 100 reps of everything. It was less moves, more reps, more simple.
Wow.
I remember one day I was like, how do you do this? Like, I'm dying. Like, my butt feels like it's going to burn. She's like, I just think about how nice my butt's going to look. That's it. She's like, what do you mean what I focus on? How my ass is going to look. That's all. I was like,
that's awesome. Okay, so we have a few more questions in the chat to get to. Destination Body, I can't remember what her first name is, but she said you mentioned that you had big bellies after your pregnancy. Do you think the custom programs helped with bringing the belly back specifically?
100%. 100%, because that's why the custom works for me. I mean, imagine my back issue that I've always had, combined with my kids were 9.5 pounds each. And I swear to you, I thought my son was like laying like this. I was like, what? How is this child position? And I had a 3-finger diastasis after my second one. So when I was, before I was pregnant with my daughter, I had been doing Tracy for a few years, right? I was pregnant in 2012. So before that, I was like, Tracy, Tracy, Tracy. My body was super tight. I had her. I couldn't work out while I was pregnant because I have high risk pregnancies. And after her, my body naturally came back. It took its time, but it came back. My belly was still loose. I went back to Tracy. It came back. I didn't have a diastasis though. With my second one, same deal. I couldn't work out during pregnancy. And then I was working a job that didn't allow me to get to the studio. So I was trying at home and I didn't do any type of exercise for a few months. And my belly was completely distended. I remember trying to do a sit-up once and I couldn't, like there was just no connection. I was like, this is crazy. And finally, when I came to Tracy, the first point of focus, Maria Davidson, who's the one that prescribes down there, she was like, don't worry, we're going to bring it back. And I remember her like poking me and like doing all the things, and surely enough, it came back. And it had been a couple of years that I was like trying to, what do I do to bring this back? And it was like, it didn't, it took a little bit of time, but it's sealed.
Thank goodness. We have another question from Work in Progress. She said she would love to hear about your refueling after a workout.
So I'm not sure if everybody here knows, I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. So I have a science-based approach to nutrition, where what I've learned and what I see works for me and the people that I work with is 3 meals a day. If you need a snack in the afternoon, you do that. But it's not subscribed to before or after a workout. It's actually based on your circadian rhythm and how our bodies use energy throughout the day. So you have a breakfast when it's breakfast time. You have lunch when it's lunchtime. You have dinner when it's dinner time. If you do need food in the afternoon, you have that. I believe in eating. But it's not necessarily attached to I really truly believe, and I think Tracy said this once, that that type of eating applies if you're an athlete training for a specific Olympics or sports event where they have to refuel, and it's very specific macro-based energy consumption. But I would say for a day-to-day, even if you're a diehard Tracy, just eat your food. I have a lot of tips on ideal plate and how to build a plate, but just eat 3 meals a day. We have an issue with, there's so many women that are just not eating, right? Intermittent fasting and all that may work for some, but not for all. And what's happening is we're just not eating. And then we're like, I'm so tired. I don't have energy. I have mental fog. It's like, did you eat today? Like, well.
So do you always work out in the morning, or what's your routine about when the workout happens for you during the day?
I'm a morning workout person. I like to do it to not so much to get it out of my way, because I used to love working out in the afternoon. That's what my schedule allowed, after work. And now, because I work from home and I can manage my own time, I prefer to do it in the morning, not so much to get it out of the way, but to have a good start to my day. So again, going back to my anchors, I wake up, I do my breath work and meditation, I do my lymphatic work, I have my lemon water, I have my breakfast, I go work out, and that's the beginning of my morning, and that sets me up for the day. So, again, changing the mindset of training as a good thing that I'm excited to do because it's good for me, as opposed to like, I have to go work out. If you feel like that, that's not the workout for you.
Right. Yeah. And then you're really absorbing that energy about it being a negative experience, which is, just as bad as not doing it in some sense. what would be your advice to someone who is brand new to the method?
I would say forget about lanes, forget about progression, focus on progress and where you are. If you need to stay and start for as long as you need to, you stay there. And when you're ready, you move on. I feel like a lot of us that do the method are very type A. We are go-getters and, super achievers, but we can chill a little bit because what you don't want to, you want to make sure there's a reason why she's designed it that way, so that you become strong in a group of muscles, or in getting the moves right and understanding the posture, and then you move on. Because what happens, I think, is if you try to go too fast and go, I want to be in the 10 lane, and you're not ready, then you're going to be discouraged because it's not going to be fun. It's going to be painful and uncomfortable. So just take your time and stick with it. Like for me, it takes, even in the times when I've been on and off, it takes like 3 months to really feel like I got this. The 2-week trial is a trial for you to see if you like it and get in there, and chances are you're going to get hooked. But then you got to stick with it, so don't think that in 2 weeks you're supposed to feel like I can do this. This is so easy. It's like, no, that's a taste. And then you have to stick with it, and then give yourself broad timelines, 3 months, 6 months, a year. And you will see the more permanent results. So just stick with it.
Yeah, that is such a good point, because you really are like building a muscular structure that is going to last. It doesn't mean that you're going to like see overnight changes, but you're going to see that progress.
Yeah, and you do see overnight changes. I mean, there are things that happen and it's like, oh my God, my ass just went up 2 inches, like all of a sudden, like my neck looks longer. Like you do see these things. But that whole, she was talking about it on her Ask Tracy, the whole bolting thing. It's a process, and imagine some of us may have more muscle than others. Some of us may have been working out or not. So you have to sometimes build muscle. Sometimes you have to unbuild muscle. So it's that whole recalibrating and rebalancing. It just takes a different amount of time for each person. But the longer you do it, that's when you start getting the bolting that won't go away for 6 months, and then you're like, oh my God, my pants just fit better. And something that you pull out of your closet that you hadn't worn for a while fits even better than before. So just stick with it.
Excellent advice. Okay, we're back to some questions in the chat. Jen has 2 questions. She wants to know, 1, are you going to write a cookbook? And then the second one is about your gratitude practice. So we'll let you answer the cookbook question first.
Okay. Hi, beautiful Jen. I love this woman so much. There's a group of women that, including you, Suzanne, when I meet you, I'm going to squeeze you. We do squeeze each other. It's like, are you real? So the cookbook, before I write a cookbook, I want to see Goldie come out with her cookbook.
Oh.
Because Goldie's food is delicious. I am not a recipe person. I don't know if you've noticed when I post recipes, it's like, add a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I do want to write one, but it's actually going to be called the Uncookbook, or the anti-recipe cookbook, because I truly believe in, I read this quote: if you give a man a fish, he will have a meal. If you teach a man how to fish, he will eat forever. So when I'm coaching people, I teach them how to fish. I will teach you how to, it's about the technique and time saving tips, and how to shop and have your food stocked with food that you can. So it would be something like that. Like throw 2 carrots together and put some cinnamon on it. And it's going to be about the photography, but it's coming. I have many books that want to be born. So there will be an uncookbook in there. And then secondly, we have a very a gratitude practice that a few of us that are connected through my work have been going on, I think, since beginning of summer.
Okay.
And gratitude, you know, when you are in a state of gratitude, you are actually tweaking your brain. It's a neuroplasticity exercise. Everything that I teach has even the most woo-woo stuff and spiritual, it goes back to science and the body. So when you have a daily gratitude practice, which can start as simply as when you open your eyes saying, I'm grateful that I woke up. I'm grateful that I can move my hands. I'm grateful that I can take a breath, you know, and it can evolve into being, I am so grateful that I get to wake up today because I'm excited about all the things I'm going to do, and I can see out the window and trees, and you can make it as elaborate as you can, but start simple. It's simply about shifting and being in a state of gratitude, and naming your gratitudes doesn't mean you deny the things you are not grateful for in your life. It's just you're changing the chemistry of your brain to release happy hormones before you go into stress hormones. So start simple and do it daily.
Okay. So even just starting of thinking of it, and then like, do you recommend journaling and stuff like that too to keep you in that state of mind?
Yes, you could think them if that's the easiest thing for you. Journaling pen to paper has also a neurological connection, so that's a very powerful technique. If you have a group of girls that you WhatsApp, just say, hey guys, let's start doing 3 to 10 gratitudes a day. That's the first message we send each other. And you're also offering gratitude to others. And you can also speak them, which I find really beautiful. Like some days, I have a teacher, and on Sundays she encourages us to do 1008 gratitudes. I've never gotten there. Her name is Paramatma, but I'll do 108, and I'm like, I'm not gonna write 108. I'm gonna sing them. So I'm taking a shower. I'm like, I'm so grateful for the shower, and I'm so grateful that. So hearing your own voice, hearing your own sound current is very powerful as well. But you know, whatever, it's the same as with a workout, it's the same as with a meditation practice. Anything that's called practice just takes practice. And practice, if you do it daily, that's what will grow.
Excellent. That's such good advice. Um, so I don't think this is another question, but Jen said that your journey program changed her life and she's grateful for you.
And she's changed my life, and I'm so grateful to you, Jen, and every woman. I've worked with over 200, 250 women at this point since I started, and each of them has been a teacher to me. And every time I come in contact with a new personality, a new story, a new background, you know, there are so many threads that connect us and how we feel as women. And we often feel so alone in how we feel, especially about our bodies and our life and things that are going on. And, you know, I do groups also, and I have women from, you know, from London to Peru to Malaysia to Los Angeles in one group sitting together, and they're feeling the same, and they can't believe it, and they're different ages, but then each of their stories is different. And when I love questions, I love that you even call this Ask Tamily, right? When you ask the questions, you become the master. So I love a question. And when every time one of these humans asks me a question, it inspires me to grow. Oh, you know what? I don't have an answer for you right now, but I'm going to go learn about that. Okay, we're going to learn about lymphatic system. We're going to learn about this nervous system. Oh, you're a vegan. I need to find more sources of protein for you. So I'm going to dive into that. So each of you, Jen, has been a teacher to me, and I couldn't be more grateful to all of you.
That is so beautiful. Like to think that that comes through in your ability to do that through work and also through Tamily to have those connections is really, really amazing.
Yeah, and Tamily, you know, Tamily, the people that I work with from the Tamily, there's that element of I'm seeking to feel better, and I have the ability to commit and learn and grow. So you guys are amazing.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. That's like the one thing that's similar about all of us, even though we're all so different, is And it, you know, it's that type A type of person, but being able to be committed to something and wanting to achieve, like, that is such the common thread. Um, what advice would you say you've received from the Tamily that has been impactful to you?
What advice have I received from the Tamily? I would say it's don't be shy to reach out. Don't be shy to connect. You know, don't hesitate in asking for support. Not only for the workout, but you know, I've been in moments where we've gathered to pray, we've gathered to meditate, we've gathered to breathe with somebody that needed the support at that time. And again, that idea of, you know, your family, you don't choose it. You're born into your family. Great, thank you. I love family. Your friends, you may have friends that you made through childhood that are not there. Maybe some are there, and as we grow, you have like that other group of people. But when you find people that you choose to connect with that are not even in your neighborhood, they're on another part of the world, and they're showing up for you simply because you're connecting through this mutual love for movement and creating community, you know. And at first it can be, you can be, I felt shy. I was like, I don't know any of them, and they seem like they're so close, and then I'm the newbie, and what am I going to do? And they're like, no, what do you need? What do you need to, what do you need us to do? How do you want to set it up? When do you want to work out? You know, just ask. So I would say, just if you're new, just reach out to whoever you're connecting with and become friends.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because I think sometimes, like, from the outside looking into the family, you think, well, these people know each other. They've been friends for years and they must have met in person. And, like, it's not hard to break in, because that's often not true. A lot of the time, some of the closest people that we have in the family, we've never met in person. We've only talked online, or we've met, you know, one time at a meetup or something like that. So making that point, like, it's not hard to become part of this circle. It's not like all of these people have been, you know, friends for 10 years. Like, it's just the way that the community is, and it's easy to get into. Shy Daisy would like to know, what is your diet like on any given day? Like, can you just give us some examples?
So I walk my talk. So I eat 3 meals a day. People are like, is that it? It's 3 meals a day. And I compose them based on my ideal plate guidelines, which is a little bit of cooked vegetable, a little bit of raw vegetable, enough protein. That could be that much, that could be that much, and fat. And I'm doing this because that's how I don't ask people to weigh or measure food. You can use your hands, and it gives you pretty accurate. And so I eat a little bit of everything. I used to be vegan for many, many years, and it made me feel very good in the beginning until it didn't. And my body was literally eating itself, because when you don't eat animal protein, your body's so intelligent. It says, well, I need protein, so I'm going to get it from you. So my hair was falling out. My skin was a disaster. I had no energy, and reintroducing animal protein was a game changer, and the science supports that. So I eat very simple foods. I make sure that I eat within my windows. You know, I eat breakfast. I don't intermittent fast. I did that for a long time too, and it actually made me become very inflamed. And my body was holding on when I fed it to whatever I gave it, because it was like, I don't know when this woman's gonna feed me again. So I'm just gonna hold on to that. So I eat a little bit of everything 3 times a day. Don't skip meals. And even if I go out, I try to ideal plate my meals as much as possible. And then I'll have my food hugs on top of that. But yeah, it's just, I like to say that my job, a great part of my job is holding people in that space long enough for you to believe that it is very simple. Because we've been sold so many ideas that it's not, that it's complicated, and that you have to do very special, hard, punishing things to feel good. And it's like, no, let's go back to basics.
right. Well, it's excellent that you are able to share that with people through your work, definitely. Um, let's see. We have lots of comments in the chat, but I don't think any other questions yet. Do you do dance cardio in addition to the workout?
I love cardio. I love I feel like that's my moment to shine. And I'm a, you know, one of my dreams as a child was to become a dancer, and I didn't because my mom was a ballet dancer and she didn't think that would be the best route for me. I wish it would have been different, but I love to dance, and Tracy's choreography, and and we're there and you're jumping around and sweating. I loved it from day one. In the beginning, I could not do it. My feet hurt so much. My body was like, but I kept doing it, and then I would have to take long breaks because literally I was messing up my feet. I think I just had the wrong shoes, and I wasn't. And we didn't have bouncy floors when we did those boot camps. It was terrible. But I love it. I love the sweat. I love to dance. I really do believe that shaking of the skin helps the skin come back to the muscle. That's something Tracy has said a long time ago, and it always stuck with me. So even if you're sucking your stomach in, I roll my pants down and I let my belly skin bounce, and it's brought it back a lot because when the skin moves, you can produce collagen, or there's a theory someone said. I believe that.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Kim would like to know, what is the best way to set up a consult with you to learn more about your approach to nutrition?
So I have two options. First of all, you can always ask me questions. I'm either on Instagram. I have a community platform called the Paola Gang, and I have a free membership option. So if you're there, you get all my announcements and everything. When groups are available, which now I have availability for January, but you'll be the first to know. Because in Instagram, not everybody gets your messaging. You may post something and 10% of people. So if you want to know everything, go to thepaolagang.com. You can sign up for free. Now, if you want to talk because you know that you want to join but have very specific questions, I have free intro chats that I do once a month. If the time doesn't work for you, hey Paula, I want to talk to you, but that time doesn't work for you, I'll make it happen. And if you know that you want to sign up and want to secure a spot, you can do a wellness assessment, which you pay a fee for, which applies to your program, but it's almost like I'm setting you up to you're in type of thing. So those are all many options. I'm always around.
Excellent.
And you can find all of that also through the link in my bio. It's all in there.
Okay, perfect. That's fantastic. I think you might be getting some people reaching out soon.
My sisters.
Have you converted anyone to being a devoted Tammer?
I mean, who have I not? From my mom and my stepmom, my sisters, which are 5, my friends, Dominican and from here, and all of my clients go to them. It's like, just try it out, see if you like it. And they're immediately like, what is this?
That is excellent. You might have transitioned the most people to the method.
I mean, last year for sure to the online, because everybody was locked in their house, right? So sometimes I have clients that they're like, no, I do this workout and I do this other workout. But if somebody's a floater and they're like, I don't know, I don't have a workout, I'm like, you go there.
Yeah.
You're going to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. How did you discover the Tamily online? Obviously you knew about Tracy before the Tamily was even around.
I think the first person I came across was Miriam.
Okay.
I don't know how, but I feel like she's the one for me that it was the first person that I saw doing workouts and all. I'm like, wow, these women, they're hardcore. They're like videotaping themselves working out. I was like, I never even thought of that. I think you guys made that a trend before it was a trend.
That's very possible.
I'm sure, because you've been doing it for forever, and all of a sudden last year it's like everybody's posting their work.
Uh-huh.
It's like these people were doing that way before.
Right, right. Being the only crazy people putting their workout online. Um, can you share a takeaway that you have heard from a previous Ask Tamily interview?
Well, actually, I watched Jilla's, who I love. I watched Goldie's, and I'm talking about recently, and I watched last week with Connie.
Uh-huh.
And she said she shared her so many beautiful things, but she shared this quote, this motivational quote, and it was something along the lines of fortunate for the brave.
Yes, yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. Fortune favors the brave, I think.
Fortune's favor. Yeah, and I was like, I like that, because I have 2 kids, and sometimes my son, he likes to ride motorcycles. He does motocross. He's 7. And that kid, I remember the first time he had to go on the actual track, and he was so scared. And I said, you know what? It's okay to be scared. Brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means you're doing it regardless. Mm-hmm. And that clicked with him, right? And he was like, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. But I love how Connie, it kind of rounded it off for me. And it's like fortune favors the brave. It's such a beautiful way of saying that. And then something else she was sharing was how she's doing what she loves now. She changed her mind career-wise, and it's very parallel to my story. And I was shouting, yes, you can always change your mind. You can always change your mind. And it's something that I wish every woman would really know. You can change your mind at any moment about anything. And it may feel very scary, but fortune favors the brave.
That's such a good message, especially because people think like, it's too late for me to try a new workout and actually become an athlete. It's too late for me to change careers. And that's really like never true. If you're still here on this earth, you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, my ass keeps looking nicer. Thank you, Tracy. It just keeps like moving up. What is this?
Can you tell us about a move in the method that you used to hate that you now love?
Oh, I know exactly which one it is. I make up names for the moves that I don't know the names, but it's this one where you're on hydrant position, but then you, with a bent knee, you have to kind of reach back and then point your foot to the side.
Okay.
And it was so difficult for me to just keep that position. When I gave my daughter was C-section, my son was natural birth, and my hips were just didn't come out right, which is something else that the method has helped me get back. But I just couldn't do it. And then recently it's been back on rotation in a lot of the classes, and I was like, I can do it. And a tip that one of the trainers had given me there was, imagine that there's a pole behind you that you're trying to wrap yourself. Okay. Then when you extend the leg to the side, you do it with your abs.
Okay.
It's like, oh, because I feel a lot of times we're not using I wasn't using my whole body to move my limbs. I was just moving my leg. And it's like, no, you gotta use a whole. So when I did it, I think it was last week's fundamental, I was like, I did it.
That is wonderful. And that's such a good takeaway too, because I think sometimes you can be doing the method for years and you're still using that leg to move that leg. And it's really about using your whole body in every single move.
I mean, you have to push yourself up, you're not seeing. So you have to use your back, and then you have to use your side, and then you have to use your abs, and then you have to use your back, and then your butt, and then it's almost like the leg just has to move on its own.
Right.
Which I couldn't do. I was trying, and it was like physically I couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And then when it clicks, you're like, and there it is.
Yeah. That is the amazingness of the method. So we are actually coming up on our last few minutes, Paola. I could talk to you all day long. So now I have to see what other questions we want to ask. Of course, if people want to put one in the chat, you have a few more minutes. What would you say is most important to you to maintain balance in your life?
So that I like to see, I don't know where I learned it from. It wasn't Nora Ephron. It was another Nora writer. I'm terrible with remember people's last name, but this famous female writer was asked in an interview, how does she keep everything in balance in her life? And she said, well, I don't see it that way. What I think about it is you're juggling a bunch of balls, and some of them are made of rubber and some of them are made of glass. And she said, I just try to not drop the glass ones. So, we have a tendency to, every to-do we have on our list has the same urgency. But what if you categorize it by green? I need to get it done at some point, not an emergency. Yellow, there's some urgency, but it's not immediate. And red, like it needs to get done now. And you reprioritize based on that. So red is your glass ball. You can't not go pick your kids up at school, right?
Right.
You can't not make them food.
Right.
I mean, depending on the age. But maybe you can fold the laundry later.
Mm-hmm.
Or ask somebody to help you doing that. Another thing we do is we don't ask for help as much as we know, because we're multitaskers, and I want to stop glamorizing multitasking. That's one of my missions in life. Let's not celebrate it. It's great if you can, but you don't have to, maybe sometimes, but I like to see it in that way. And rather than trying to keep everything in balance, it's like, I'm just trying not to drop my glass balls. That
is such a great way to put that. I love it. I love it. It gave me goosebumps actually when you said that. We have a question from Lauren. She would like to know, how do you keep yourself motivated to move through injury recovery?
So another great teacher of mine, Dr. Perry Nicholson, who's, if you don't follow him, you should. He's the inflammation king. And all of the lymphatic techniques that I teach are versions of what he teaches applied to the people I work with. But he taught me, I went to him in one of my most recent back, by the way, when my back hurts, it has to do more with stress and movement. So I get stressed, it causes inflammation in my body, that concentrates in my gut. Whenever something hurts in the back of your body, look at the front, what's happening in the front. So the spot where my back was hurting this particular time was aligned with my gut. So we were working on my gut. We didn't work on my back at all. Physical therapy, I worked on my back, but with him, the focus was getting inflammation out of my gut. And he said, a lot of people think that when you're hurt, you shouldn't move, and it's the opposite. You need to compensate, and you need to tell the body that you're still functioning. And if you don't move, you don't move inflammation. The lymphatic system is all in the joints of the body. That's why the method is also a lymphatic massage. It's like a lymphatic workout. But I do rest a lot more. I don't work out on top of an injury, but I do move. And that means I could just walk. We tend to dismiss walking. Walking is medicinal. So you don't want to work over pain. That's something you don't. If something hurts, your body's saying, please stop. Mm-hmm. So you honor that as you investigate what's going on, but you keep moving in a way that doesn't hurt. And that could be gentle movement. And Tracy has all the options of all the stretching, or just don't jump when you dance. Mm-hmm. Just don't hurt. If you hurt, stop. Investigate, but move in a way that compensates for what you're feeling in your body. But rest, we have a tendency to go, no, and I feel the burn. And even Tracy says that, like, you don't want to burn all the time. Mm-hmm. You can't burn all the time. Sometimes you should feel nothing and just be moving around,
Right, exactly. So I have a request in the chat for this as well from Katie. Do you want to play Two Truths and a Lie, where you have to tell us 3 statements?
Yeah, and Karen had asked me for that too.
Oh, good.
So okay. I had a couple of requests. People were like, can you share your skincare routine and 2 truths and a lie?
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. Now of course, I'm blocking out. Okay, I can speak 4 languages.
Okay.
I am one of 7 siblings.
Okay.
And I've been to Mongolia, which is a beautiful place.
Okay. So 4 languages, 7 siblings, and Mongolia. I think every single one of those could be true. So, we didn't really talk about languages at all. I did hear you say, I think that you have 5 sisters, so you could have 7 siblings. So, Work in Progress thinks that number 3 is the lie, which is Mongolia. Karen and Nicole think number 2 is the lie. Destination Body thinks number 2 and 3 are both true. We're all over the map. Lauren thinks number 1 is the lie about the 4 languages. I do not know. I really think 1 and 2 are completely, definitely possible. 3 is also possible.
All right, should I reveal?
I'm gonna guess 3 is the lie, and you can reveal.
Yeah, 3 is the lie. It is a dream of mine to go there, but I haven't made it. But I don't know why. I'm like, I need to go to Mongolia. But we are 7. I'm the oldest one.
Wow.
I had to break all the barriers and get all the permissions, and then everybody else got a free ride. And can speak English, Spanish, Italian, and French.
Wow, that's awesome. You are a super inspiring person, Paola. I've loved talking to you. So before we go, do you want to share your skincare routine since we had requests for that also?
Yeah, Karen requested this, and I actually get a lot of questions about that. My number 1 tip is eat food, especially good fats, and drink a lot of water. I see a change immediately when I don't drink enough water, and get your sleep in. So that's from a behavior point of view, from a self-care point of view. Then what I put on my face, I'm very minimal in that area. So I've been using a very simple face wash from the Nuco, and it's very gentle. I'm not committed to face washes. That's the one thing I rotate, but that's the one currently. The 2 things I subscribe to are P50, the Biologique Recherche toner lotion. That is it. That is the most beautiful exfoliating stinky liquid gold. And then Agustino's Butter, the cream. They're both pricey, but your skin will glow, and you use like a pin size amount of each, and I can't recommend it. You end up spending more money on less expensive stuff that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Your face is out there. Just pay for stuff you put on your face.
Okay, that's great advice. We do have one last question. I'm just going to squeeze it in our last minute. We had got this question ahead of time from Eloisa, it looks like. So she wants to know, when you realized that you needed to change your professional life, she said, I think you were super stressed. Is that correct? And what kind of like workout or exercise were you doing at the time? I imagine it was Tracy then.
I actually wasn't doing anything because I was so stressed out. So I've had moments of time where I didn't do the method, and I paid for it, emotionally, physically, in every sense of the way. But I used to be a fashion designer for 20 years. I was at an executive level director of accessories. I used to work at Banana Republic was my last job. And I was at that place where after that you go to, you could be a creative director, president, all that stuff. And it was it just got farther and further away from what I love, which was actually designing stuff. And it became more about managing a business. I had a, I don't know how many $1 million business, managing a large team of people. I loved my team. I'm the biggest cheerleader. A lot of how I worked in that influences how I work with people now. But I was working 14 hours a day. I never saw my kids. From a sustainability point of view, the product I was creating wasn't things that would last. It was things that end up in a landfill, and even the production process, the sampling and all that stuff. So it was going against a lot of my values. When you align your values with your behaviors and you realize that none of your behaviors are aligning with your values. And I didn't even realize it at the time. I just know I was not happy. And I wanted to dedicate more time to caring for myself. And by chance, I decided to take a certification course and becoming a health coach. I never thought of doing that. And it was in order to fix me, I was 39 turning 40, and I didn't even look like myself. And I was so tired. And I was like, you know what, I need to figure myself out, because for the past 10 years, I had been studying on my own. I always had something health issue going on. And this time I was like, I just need to figure it out. I'm tired of cleanses. I'm tired of diets. I need to get to the science. And I decided to then take that route. I was like, I feel like I found something that I want to share. And rather than creating stuff that we're going to throw away, I want to help people change their lives. And I want people, to know that you can feel younger and look and be more resilient than you were when you were 25, because I sure am. And all the people that I've worked with, I think can share that as well. You reverse age when you take care of yourself. Tracy says that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's been so much fun talking to you. I can't believe already 63 minutes went by.
I know. I love talking to you too.
Oh, yes, it's been fantastic. And I can't wait to meet you in New York. Sometime when I'm there, I'm going to squeeze you too.
House of Tribeca.
Yes.
Even though I do go to 59th for you guys. I went for Jill, I went for Casey. I go up there.
Well, we will have to meet up at both studios for sure.
For sure. And I'm going to squeeze you.
It's been amazing talking to you for episode 175 of Ask Tamily.
Thank you so much. And I love you all. And thank you for the gift of friendship and community that you give me. And I cherish it every single day. So thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for watching, Tamily. Everyone have a great day.